movies on our channel.
No.
Stay safe out there.
That is way too much of a connection. Way too much.
Remember the Nicolas Cage movie Snake Eyes that eerily forecast the Charlie Kirk assassination? Right down to the September 10th date and character names? Erika Kirk also told you what she's doing by playing the female lead role in
We're not gonna bypass that one. We're gonna have to look that one up. We can't just bypass that.
My lucky number 7.
September 10th. Remember that. Nicolas Cage plays a cop who is helping out in the protection of a federal asset, Secretary of State Charlie Kirkland. Secretary of State Charlie Kirkland.
United States of America, Mr. Charles Kirkland.
Charlie Kirkland. Charles Kirk.
Great idea. Put a flashing light on your head while you're at it.
In the stands is Secretary of State Charlie Kirkland. Shortly after the fight starts, a blonde woman wearing all white comes and sits next to Charlie Kirkland. Cage pulls out his gold Trump phone and surprise.
My lucky number. What?
Charlie Kirkland is plow in the neck.
What the fuck?
But isn't this just interesting how life imitates arts or whatever this funny stuff is going on?
Now you can feel happy to just call me and label me a conspiracy theorist. I firmly believe that evil people like certain things and they like to play it out like a play, like The Purge, where they just want to see people act out these real things that they like. Like, this is my favorite movie, so I'm going to act this out, and it fits so beautifully. The odds, like, I would love to know statistically, what's the odds of that happening? With him being named the same type of Charlie Kirkland, Charles Kirkland, but close enough. The same Charlie Kirk, and then have a blonde with funny color eyes with him, and then he gets hit in the same place that Charlie Kirk got hit on September 10th. Come on. The odds of that coming together is so slim. So something is off. I can't. No. Impossible. Label me whatever you want to label me. I don't care.
Erika Kirk also told you what she's doing by playing the female lead role in November Renaissance, The Open Source Decade, a movie about espionage in 2013. So now the question becomes harder to avoid. If Erika Kirk's family is tied to intelligence activity, who are they really working for? Which foreign interests could they be aligned with? And if you remember where Erika's mother was sending that geofencing data, maybe the answer isn't as mysterious as it first appears. Because once you see how the same hidden hands are quietly steering the Tyler Robinson court case in Utah, the cover-ups, the evidence erased, the lies told in plain sight, suddenly the entire picture snaps into focus. You're not going to believe this. Just 2 days after the Charlie Kirk assassination, the crime scene was not just contaminated, it was destroyed with heavy machinery. Skid loaders were brought in, more than a foot of earth was scraped away, and then the entire area was paved over. That single act made it impossible for either the defense or prosecution to ever return to the scene for proper forensic analysis. No blood evidence, no trajectory work, no splatter patterns. And after what later emerged about shards of glass inside the SUV that rushed Charlie to the hospital, investigators would never be able to recover that evidence either. The destruction of the crime scene was flagrant, blatant, and shocking. And it happened in full public view. The whole world saw it. Everyone, it seems, except the Utah prosecutor. During the Tyler Robinson show trial, that same prosecutor told Sheriff Richard Mack he had no idea the crime scene had been scraped up and paved over. At this point, the question isn't whether this was negligence, it's whether the fix was already in.
The fact that they paved over it, the only excuse for that is it is a college campus and it is traumatizing for, students to see that every single day and all that stuff is there. So they'll pave over it, just like when a shooting happens at a club. They'll just close the club and then rename it. It's the same club. But if they keep it the same, the trauma is still there. So that's the only way. But These are college students. These are adults. And also, it's not only a crime scene, it is a high political crime scene. High enough for the president of the United States to talk about it and the leader of the FBI to also be in cahoots with the people doing the investigation and helping in that investigation. This is close friends to them. So it's a high profile political assassination. To muddy that water is kind of weird. And for them to allow it to happen, you know it's on purpose. It wasn't like the feds didn't have any hand in it, because they even took it to the extent to not let the operating doctor, the one that wanted to clean Charlie Kirk up so Erika could see him after, to not let him back in his own operating room immediately after, while they did whatever they needed to do. And they secured all the cameras. And that vehicle that he's referring to, the one with the shards of glass or whatever it was inside that vehicle, they just had it impounded. They cleaned it all up immediately. And they didn't have impounded, sorry. They just cleaned it all up and sold it off. So, yeah, something is up. And to act like we're crazy for thinking that is a psyop.
According to Sheriff Mack, who joins us again, you've had a conversation with the prosecutor that's responsible for charging Tyler Robinson, and he says he has no idea that the crime scene was scraped up and paved over. Is that right?
Yeah, a little bit mistake there. He's not the prosecutor. He works for the prosecutor's office.
Okay, the office that's responsible.
And the guy assigned to the case to go to trial has not been assigned yet. So it could be him. I doubt. I think the head guy will probably take the case because, one, it'll give him a lot of positive publicity.
Would you agree, in your experience and in your professional opinion in dealing with prosecutors for your entire career as a law enforcement agent, would you agree that entire office's job right now is to comb over every detail of Tyler Robinson and the Charlie Kirk assassination?
Of course, yeah.
They're not working on anything else right now.
Yeah, it's possible that he still had another job, but I asked him personally, are you aware of this case? Of course he is. You know, the whole office is, as you're alluding to. But I said, so I asked him flat out. I said, do you know that the crime scene has been completely compromised and that they've dug it up and paved over it? The newspaper, the Salt Lake Tribune, actually did a picture. Everybody can look it up. A lot of people, this made a lot of news, and I've talked about it on several talk shows and podcasts, that would have been absolutely criminal for anyone to have done that. And the thing that really made me shocked was this attorney who works for the prosecution office did not even know that had happened. And he goes, oh, I doubt that very seriously. And so I had to tell him, you need to look at the Salt Lake Tribune, because
I doubt that very seriously. This is publicly available information that people are on the internet complaining about, raising alarms about, screaming and yelling about. They're covering the crime scene.
Yeah, that's insane.
Of the most prolific assassination of our lifetime.
Yeah, and it wasn't asked.
That remains completely unsolved, by the way. It does not, this thing remains completely unsolved. There are absolutely a lot more questions about this than there have been answers. And the prosecutor's office, a representative, an attorney inside of the county attorney's office that's charging this guy, doesn't know that or says that they don't know that. Let me ask you this. You said that would be absolutely criminal. If this were your jurisdiction, Sheriff Mack, while you were the sheriff, and this had taken place inside of your jurisdiction, and we're going to go back too, because I got a lot of questions for you. Do you got the time?
Yeah, let's go. Okay.
Would these contractors have been allowed on that crime scene?
No, of course not. Absolutely not. The crime scene would have been protected, even if I had to put a deputy there 24/7. That crime scene would have been extremely protected. But the FBI didn't protect the crime scene in Butler, Pennsylvania either. In fact, tourists were walking all over it, and even up on the roof where the FBI was actually washing the roof off of the blood of the suspect. So I even made a joke. I said, why doesn't the FBI just sell tickets for everybody to come trampling through? But that was a week later. This assassination, the most amazing assassination, as you pointed out, in our lifetime, except maybe for my lifetime, JFK, probably not your lifetime because you're not that old.
Probably
But,
the same suspects.
Folks, this would have never absolutely happened. And if it had, I would have been conducting another investigation to find out who authorized it, who did it, and who's going to get fired for doing this. And now we're going to have to undo that somehow.
That's how you know the feds are in cahoots with this. There's no reason why people can go to the crime scene where they with the Trump shooter and do that and contaminate that crime scene or whatever it is. There's no way that people was even helping the Secret Service with knowing that the guy was on the roof and screaming and saying and pointing while he was walking over there before the shots rang out. It's no reason. That tells you that these people are evil. And I really firmly believe that Trump got in line because of that. I don't believe, same thing Charlie Kirk said, by the way, but I don't believe that what we see is who's in charge. It's a shadow government behind them that does the bidding.